Hello YouTube, Slate Warrior here. Sorry for the shortage of videos lately. I have baseball and school. It's been really busy. Also, I really apologize for no next great YouTuber round 4. There will definitely be round 5 video. I'm sorry that I couldn't get one up for round 4. So let's get started with this video. As you can see in the title, this is my October 1st Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist prediction video. I'm not going to make it a wish list. This is not going to be my personal opinions, even though I have a lot. I have a format in mind. This is just going to be what I actually think Konami is going to do. And I have my reasons for that. I'm going to try to keep it nice and short, okay? The first one, Honest. I think Honest is going to get banned because opening up with it is just too good for light decks. Even though Stellar Knights and Batterymen and other light decks this format aren't really running it, Bujins still do. And if they open with it, that's just a complete advantage that only light decks have. It's a card that, you know, it could be at 3 and then you just never attack into light decks, but since it's at 1, if you attack and they have it, it's just a free battle win over any monster that you have, unless you're attacking with something like an Armades, so they can't drop it. But even though Armades is a really popular card this format, I think that Honest is still really good in light decks, and the main reason that I think it's going to get banned is because of Sapphira, the new ritual monster, has a loop with it. It's not really a loop, it's just continuous adding back of Honest. Sapphira has an effect that says if a light monster is sent from your hand to the graveyard during the turn, you can, in your end phase, it has a couple effects, and one of them is that you can add a light monster from your graveyard to your hand. So that's the general effect. That's what they do. They use Honest and they recur it back during your end phase. So let's say your opponent attacks your Sapphira, you drop Honest. During your end phase, you add Honest back to your hand, then you can use Sapphira to attack, drop Honest, return it back to your hand, and then every turn you can have the ability to use Honest. So that's the first card that I'm going to be banning. The second card that I'm going to be banning, Infernity Launcher. Infinity's one world. Infernity Launcher is searchable by Archfiend. It gets their special summon combos going. You know, it's at 1, and I don't think it's good at 1 because it's searchable, and the way that deck plays is abuse Archfiend, so they just search it as early as they can. So I don't think that Infernity Launcher is a very good card to have at 1 because it's just searchable so easy. I think banning it is the right hit to the deck. I'm also going to be making one more hit to the deck, but I think banning Infernity Launcher is really good now. Next card I have banned is Soul Charge. Soul Charge is also an indirect hit to Infernities, but it's also a hit to pretty much everything this format. It'll pretty much cripple Sylvans. It'll hurt decks like Lightsworn a little bit. It'll hurt Shaddolls. It'll hurt, you know, it'll hurt the meta in general because, you know, every good deck is playing Soul Charge. Soul Charge is a really good card, and I think it's really just going to get straight banned because they don't have money to make off of it anymore. Soul Charge isn't, you know, people aren't buying Dragon of Legend anymore. Soul Charge is just a card that's played in every deck, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Was better before Soul Charge, so the ability to just use Soul Charge and make an unbreakable board when comboed with other really good cards such as Vanity's Emptiness, you know, Soul Charge is a card that I believe will get banned. Next, I have Artifact Sanctum, and that is not banned, sorry, if I scared any of you. I have Artifact Sanctum being limited. I have Artifact Sanctum at 1 instead of Moraltalk. A lot of people have Moraltalk at 1, and the reason that I now have switched over to a Sanctum, I used to be a Moraltalk believer, but now I think Sanctum's going to be the one at 1, and the reason I think that is because of a video that Ubel Mastery did. Daniel from Ubel Mastery did his own Banlist prediction video, and he explained that if we hit Sanctum, if we limit Sanctum, we're hurting the engine, whereas if we limit Moraltalk, we're just killing the Artifact deck. You can't play Artifact with 1 Moraltalk. You have to have the 3 Moraltalk. It's the engine of the deck. It's the best card in the deck. It's the removal that the deck provides. So if we get rid of Sanctum, they can still run the deck well. Also, Sanctum, if destroyed by MST or any other card that destroys, you get to pop an extra card. So besides being able to chain it to MST and getting the pop with Moraltalk, or Moraltalk, and like if you bring out a Bagaltalk, pop your own Moraltalk, then special summon it, you get an extra pop, and I think that was like totally unnecessary. Like the card would have been great without that. So Sanctum will hopefully get rid of the Artifact engine if we limit it to 1. The next card that I'm going to be hitting to 1 is a really big surprise, and I know I said I wouldn't be doing like personal cards, but this is one that I am really strongly a believer that it will come to 1 someday. Time Seal. A lot of you were probably expecting me to say Stratos or DMOC, right? No, Time Seal. I think Time Seal should go to 1, and the reason that Time Seal should go to 1 is we have a card in the game right now at 3 that is a direct copy of Time Seal except better because it is a counter trap, and that is Drastic Drop Off. Drastic Drop Off is better than Time Seal because it not only locks down the draw phase, it also locks down any searches that they have, and it's a counter trap, so it's supposed to be 3, whereas Time Seal is supposed to be 2. Now, the big upside that Time Seal has, that it's chainable to Mystical Space Typhoon, so if they MST or Time Seal, you can chain it and then they skip their next draw phase, whereas Drastic Drop-Off has to be chained to the draw or the search. Drastic Drop-Off can be used in the draw phase. It can also be used when somebody draws during the main phase or any other phase. It can also be used when somebody searches during any phase. So Drastic Drop-Off is a really good card. Nobody really plays it though, so that's why I think that if Time Seal came back, nobody would play that either, except after maybe the first week, just because it had some hype from going back to 1. Another downside that Drastic Drop-Off has is that the card that you are locking them down with actually gets sent to the graveyard, where Time Seal just has them not draw it at all. And, you know, there are a lot of cards these days that do want to be in the graveyard, but I think that Time Seal's downside, and it's like, is a lot more than its upside when compared to Drastic Drop-Off, or at least they're even. So I think Time Seal will go to 1 at some point. I'm also just a really big advocate of it going to 1. Like, I've been talking about it on Facebook and in the comments of other people's Banlist prediction videos a lot. So I think Time Seal will go to 1. Vanity's Emptiness is the next card that I have going to 1. It basically ran this format. Every deck was either side decking 2, main decking 2, main decking 3, main decking 2, siding 1, you know, side decking 3. They're just, you know, everybody has Vanity's Emptiness in their deck. Every meta deck, you know, you got Shaddoll, Stellar Knights, Burning Abyss, Sylvans, Lightsworn, you know, all the Bujins. Every deck is main decking or side decking it, at least. Even rogue decks are side decking Vanity's Emptiness. So Vanity's Emptiness ran the format. And it does have an inherent flaw in that if a card is sent from your deck or field to the graveyard, to your graveyard, it, you know, destroys itself. But the problem with that is that there are cards like Master Key Beetle and Starter Spark Dragon that are easy to make with cards like Soul Charge that can just protect your Vanity's Emptiness. Or if you don't even need Soul Charge, you can make Starter Spark Dragon or Master Key Beetle in decks like Shaddolls anyway without even using Soul Charge. Soul Charge just gives it a little bit of a boost. So Vanity's Emptiness and the fact that you can just lock down your opponent's plays by keeping it on the board, I think it should go to 1. I think it will. I think it could get banned eventually, but I think we should try it at 1 at first. So I've got Vanity's Emptiness going to 1. Next, for the semi-limits, I have Infernity Archfiend. That's my only other hit to Infernities. Launcher getting banned and Archfiend at 2. I think with Launcher and Soul Charge banned, that Infernities won't be really much of a deck anyway, but they have a Konami that has a history of killing decks that win Worlds, and I think if we semi-limit Archfiend, that they only have 4 cards to search. They've got Triple Break and 1 Barrier, and a lot of their combos will require the 3rd Archfiend in the deck to get out and then summon. So I think 2 Archfiends should do it enough to make so the deck can't play the way that it's being played right now, and maybe they'll have to go back to the old way of playing it where they just run tons and tons of traps. And I mean, I don't think people will play Infernities without Launcher, but I think Archfiend will definitely seal the deal. They won't be able to play the deck as it's being played right now or as it was played at Worlds. And finally, 1 unlimit, I have Magician of Faith. Now, since we're banning Soul Charge, I think that Magician of Faith has literally no use in the meta right now. I don't think there's any cards that you'd really want to get back with Magician of Faith, you know, bar like archetypical cards. But even though Magician of Faith is a flip effect spellcaster, so, you know, it kind of goes well with Shaddolls, I don't think it's going to be good until Trinade comes back. Okay, so I didn't hit Burning Abyss, Shaddolls, or Stellar Knights on this list because I think they're out too recently. They might get hit on the next list. I know they got hit in Japan, but that's because they've been out for longer. So I think that Konami's just going to stick with these 3 decks being top. I think Noble Knights might, you know, supposedly become top once their support comes out, because, you know, Merlin is really, really good. But anyway, I'm getting off track a little bit here. So yeah, definitely comment down below. You're required to comment down below and tell me what you think about my ban list. So I want to know what you guys think, because I had some hits that a lot of people aren't doing. I hit Sanctum instead of Moral Talk. I hit Honest, and I definitely surprised a lot of people by hitting Time Seal. Like I said, I've just been an advocate of Time Seal coming back for a long time. So tell me what you think about that in the comment section below. And besides that, like this video if you enjoyed it, favorite it if you liked it that much, subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, share this with your Yu-Gi-Oh friends, and I will see you later, YouTube.